You ever notice how your shoulders feel when nothing's really going on? Not in a stressful moment, not when something's actually wrong, just in the middle of a normal day. You're sitting there, maybe you're working, just resting, and there's this slight tightness sitting up really high, like your body never fully puts things down. And it's subtle enough that you almost don't question it. It just feels like how you exist. I catch it sometimes when I'm supposed to be off. There's nothing urgent in front of me, nothing asking for a response. And there's still this quiet sense that I'm not completely settled, like something in me is still half standing just in case. It's not anxiety in the way people usually describe it. It doesn't spike, it doesn't demand my attention. It just kind of sits there in the background. And even in calm moments, there's this part of you that doesn't fully settle. Like you can be in a quiet room, everything handled, everything where it needs to be, and there's still this feeling that something might need you soon. And your system stays just a little bit ready for that. It's interesting how normal that starts to feel. You don't really remember when it began. There's no clear moment where you decided to live that way. It just kind of built over time quietly in the background of everything else. And somewhere along the way, life gave you enough moments where being alert helped. Catching something early, noticing something small, staying a step ahead. It worked. And when it works, you don't usually question it. You just keep doing it. So your system starts to hold on to that way of being. And not all the way tense, but just tense enough. And after a while, it stops feeling like a posture and starts feeling like you. This is just how you're wired. But if you sit with it for a second, it starts to feel a little different. Because underneath that feeling of being ready, there's almost an assumption sitting there. It's not plain to anybody else, but it shows up in how your body stays engaged. It's something like, if I let go completely, I might miss something. And you don't say that out loud. You probably haven't even thought it in a clear sentence, but your body seems to believe it. That slight tension in your shoulders, that way you don't fully relax even when you could. It all points back to something you learned without realizing you were learning it. And what's strange is how long it's been there. It's not tied to one season. It doesn't come and go depending on what's happening. It's just there. It's easy to overlook because it never really crosses the line into something obvious. It's just steady underneath your day. You can move through a lot of life like that without ever stopping to ask if it's actually needed, if it's responsible. And it feels like part of what keeps things running the way they should. But if you look at it a little closer, there's a question sitting there that doesn't get asked very often. Is that tension actually doing anything right now? Or is it just something your system got used to carrying? Because those two are very different things. There are moments at the end of the day when everything is technically finished, and yet it doesn't feel finished. You sit down, maybe you're finally away from everything, and your body doesn't quite follow you there. It's like something is still standing in the background, waiting for one more thing to come through. You can even feel it in the quiet environments that you're supposed to be restful in. Room is calm, nothing's moving, nothing's pressing, but there's still a slight edge in you that doesn't fully match what's going on. And it's quiet enough that you'd rather change the moment to fit how you feel instead of noticing the difference. And it hides well because it doesn't feel like something's wrong. It feels like you're just staying ready, like you're paying attention in the way you're supposed to. And it's almost like you think to yourself, this is what it looks like to be steady, to stay sharp, to not let things slip. But over time, that constant readiness has a way of keeping you just a little bit lifted off the ground. You're present, but you're not fully settled. And when you start to notice that, even slightly, it brings up something you might not have thought about before. And it's whether that tension is actually needed anymore, or if it's just something your system learned to hold on to and never quite set down. One means it's necessary. The other means it's familiar. And familiar things have a way of staying long after the season for them is gone. So you end up walking around slightly braced, even in moments that don't require it, sitting in calm environments without fully settling into them. And you'll think that it's because something is wrong, but really it's because something once needed that response. And maybe it did serve you. Maybe it helped you navigate things well. Maybe it kept you sharp in moments where that mattered. Maybe it made you effective in ways you don't even fully realize. But that doesn't automatically mean it's required now. It might just mean your system learned a pattern and never got the signal that could release it. And that's a different kind of awareness, because now you're not looking at it as personality or wiring. You're looking at it as something that formed, something that had a starting point, even if you don't remember exactly when. And once you see it that way, it opens up a quieter question. Not one you have to answer right away, just one to sit with. What if the tension you've been carrying isn't actually required for things to keep working?